An old shoe. That's what you need. So we need a strap.
That place where I put stuff before I work out where it's really going to go. And I obviously haven't sorted it, you know what I mean? I keep looking at it and going outside in the sunshine. And I've got a feeling I might have to look at it this week.
Yeah.
Sunshine.
So everybody has a strap and something like a block. So you could even use like a folded up pillow. And if you want a pillow for the end of class, then that is also good. So if you guys are ready, I'm just going to mute you all as usual. And oops. And then if you have anything else you want to ask, then just you can unmute yourself as well. So with a strap and something like a block, it can be just a cushion, or a folded up towel or folded up blanket, whatever you've got at hand. And we're going to do a little bit more of that core stuff today. I'll try not to make it as intense as last time. And we're going to start with having a strap near us and a block or like a folded in half pillow, something like that, near you and on your back. So if you allow yourself to come onto your back. And for the first few breaths, for the first minute or so, we're just going to let ourselves close our eyes and just settle into the practice. So let yourself just start to forget about everything else that's going on, everything else that you may be feeling like you need to do today, and let yourself be accepting of the next 60 minutes of just moving and breathing and working for yourself, and just doing stuff for yourself. Maybe start to notice the quality of your breath or the depth of your breath. When I say quality, I don't necessarily mean like good or bad quality, but more about whether it's a short breath or a long breath, soft or fast, that sort of quality. So not in a judgmental sense, just what type of breath are you breathing? How deep is it going? How long does it take to get there? Just give yourself that attention. And then have your feet flat on the ground and your knees bent. And place your hands just above your hip points so you can feel your hip points. Have a little dig around so you can just notice where they are. And then maybe place your hands under your low back just so you can notice that lift of your low back, that lift of your lumbar curve. And what we're going to do is just a few little pelvic tilts just to begin with. So start by pressing your low back down. We're going to call that 12 o'clock. So your lumbar curve or the top of your low back is 12 o'clock. And then tilt the other way. So your hip points will be pointing down towards the bottom of your mat. And that's going to be pressing your tailbone or your coccyx down. And that's 6 o'clock. So go back and forth slowly from 12 to 6 o'clock. 12 o'clock. And 6 o'clock. And try to make the movement slow so you're not just shaking back and forth. We're not doing any sort of belly dancing here. It's just slow, controlled movements. So you can really feel the articulation of each part of the movement and the sensations within the whole area. Then come back to a neutral place. And now imagine pressing your right thigh bone down more, like you're trying to dig it into the hip socket. So your right bum cheek will be pressing downward. We're not trying to sway our hips left and right. We're not trying to move our knees. It's just pressing that right hip bone down, right thigh bone down through the hip socket. And then that's going to be 3 o'clock. And then come back up and do the left side, and that's 9 o'clock. So moving between 3 and 9 o'clock, just gentle movements. It's like it almost is like pistons, slowly moving. Your thighs are like really slow moving pistons. And then come back to center, and we're going to go around the clock. So go from 12 o'clock to 3, 6, 9, and 12. And if you're all of a sudden like, oh crap, I'm going the wrong way, don't worry about it, because we're going to swap directions. So don't let it get to you. Just go with that flow, whatever felt like the right direction to start. Just moving in circles around that clock. Try to press down through every hour of that clock, through every minute of the clock. Go around one more time to come back to 12, and then we're going to change directions. Going from 12 and then going anti-clockwise or counterclockwise for us Canadians. And come back to 12, and then we'll settle there. And settle down at 12 o'clock. Start to bring your right knee in toward your chest. Hug it in, but then try to keep that low back curve as neutral as you can. So a lot of times when we hug one leg in, that side of our body flattens to the ground more. So we're trying to keep that natural S shape of our spine as we hug the right knee in. Maybe make some circles with your right ankle just to give your foot something to do, because sometimes we feel like our foot needs to do something. And then circle the other direction. And then let your foot come back to steady. Spread your toes and push out through the ball of your foot. And then let your hands come back down to the sides. And take a deep inhale to reach your right foot forward, but don't let it touch the ground. And then exhale, draw your knee back in. So we're really moving through the flexion and extension of the hip and knee. Inhale to straighten. Exhale, draw the knee back in. Maybe even place your hands under your low back so you can really notice whether you're flattening your back or not. Inhale to straighten. Exhale, bring the knee back in. One more inhale to straighten. And exhale, bring the knee back in. Take your strap and place it around, or your scarf, or whatever you're using, around the ball of your foot. And then stretch your right leg up as straight as it can go. And then try to press your tailbone down a little bit. Don't like push with max effort, just a little bit of a pressure of the tailbone going down so you can feel that little curve of your low back still. And then push up through the heel of your right foot as much as the head of your right thigh bone is pushing down. And if your leg straightens, that's great. And if your leg doesn't straighten, that's great. Don't worry about it. Just as long as you're feeling that energy reaching up through your heel and down through the head of your femur. Keep reaching up through your heel and pull the strap against the ball of your foot so you feel that space opening up the back of your leg. And now as you inhale, slowly press the ball of your foot into the strap until your toes are higher. And as you exhale, slowly pull your toes back down so your heel feels like it's higher, even if it's not actually higher. Maybe it is higher. I can't see. Inhale to press your toes up. Exhale, pull your toes down. One more inhale to press up. Exhale to pull down. Place the strap into your right hand and grab as high up on your right hand as you can. And start to pull your toes toward your face a little bit. Your back will flatten more now, and that's fine. Keep your left hip grounded as much as you can, and start to open your right leg to the right. Maybe lead from your toes. So if your toes are pointing sort of over your right shoulder, reach your foot in that direction as much as it can. Your foot may come to the ground, it may stay like 6 feet above the ground, and you might not even be that tall. Who knows? It could happen. Notice the flexion of your hip, and see if you can even flex that hip a little bit more. Slowly bring your leg back up through center. Take the straps into your left hand, bring your right hand down, straighten your left leg, and then bring your right leg across your body and roll it over to the left. Oh, there's a wall in the way. So you're getting a twist as you roll your leg over to the left. And as you're there, then start to really push your bottom leg, so your left heel, away from you. Imagine you're standing on your left foot. Slowly bring your leg back up through center, come back onto your back. Rebend your left knee, place your left foot on the ground, and then bend your right knee and place your right ankle over your left thigh. And you can remove your strap now. Try to keep your right foot dorsiflexed, so your toes are reaching toward your knee. And then gently press your right ankle against your left thigh, and then pull your left thigh toward your chest. If you feel like you want to get more into this pose, maybe grab the back of your left thigh or your left shin. But keep that dorsiflexion, maybe even both feet keep dorsiflexed, and press your ankle and thigh against each other. Slowly place your left foot back down. Uncross your right foot from your left. And just settle there for a few breaths. Just notice the difference. Left to right. And start to bring your left knee toward your chest. Hug it in. Make some circles with your left foot. And then circle the other direction. And start to press your tailbone back down so you get that low back curve once again. Flex your toes, so spread your toes and push out through the ball of your left foot. And then as you inhale, slowly straighten your left leg forward, hover above the ground, and exhale, bring your knee in. So you're really getting through that hip flexion. Inhale to straighten your leg forward. Good. Exhale, bring your knee toward your chest. Inhale to straighten. Exhale, draw your knee in. Really feel that flexion in the hip and the knee. One more, inhale to straighten. Exhale, knee in. Take your strap once again and place it around the ball of your left foot. And start to slowly straighten your left leg up. Press up through the heel of your foot. Pull your toes toward your face. And press your heel up as your femur, your thigh bone, presses down, like you're trying to dig your thigh bone into the ground more. You're really plugging it into that hip socket. Maybe your leg can straighten. Maybe it can't. Maybe you're thinking, why can my left leg straighten and my right leg couldn't? Or the other way around. It's because we're asymmetrical. Doesn't mean you're broken. And then slowly start to press your toes into the strap. Reach your toes up. And exhale, pull your toes back down. Inhale, press your toes up into the strap. Exhale, pull the strap down, pull your toes down. Inhale, press up. Exhale, pull down. One more inhale to press all the way up. And exhale to pull down. Then grab the straps in your left hand as high up as you can reach. Point your toes over your left shoulder. And then slowly start to open your left leg out to the left. Maybe reach your right hand to sort of stabilize you. Really feel that flexion in your hip. Help keep your leg reaching over the shoulder, even if it's nowhere near the shoulder. It's just getting that engagement and that space and that spatial awareness in your body. Start to slowly bring your leg back up through center. Take both of the straps into your right hand. Release your left hand to the left. Straighten your right leg. Stand with your right leg. And then roll your left leg across your body. Woo! Really stand with your right leg as if you're pushing your right foot against a wall, or as if you're standing on it. Slowly bring your leg back up through center, onto your back. Rebend your right knee, place your right foot back on the ground, and then bend your left knee to place your left ankle over your right thigh. So you're making that number 4 shape. Keep your left foot dorsiflexed. Press your left foot against your thigh, and then bring your right thigh toward your chest as much as you want to, or not at all if you feel like that's what you need today. Grab the back of your right thigh, and keep pressing your ankle and thigh against each other. Just enough that you can feel a bit more engagement in the legs, in the hips, and the hip flexors. Start to place your right foot back down. Uncross your left foot from your right. Have both feet on the ground with your knees bent. And just see how you feel there with your back settled. And now take your block or a pillow folded in half or a rolled up towel and place it between your thighs. And squeeze that block between your thighs a little bit. Just a little bit, not like 100% effort, but so like 15 to 20%. And then start to straighten your legs up. So your heels are aiming to be above your hips. Maybe your knees are bent, that's fine. But then press your tailbone down. Squeeze your block a little bit. Push your ribs against the mat. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, try to push your block up. And now you might not see much movement, but you're squeezing and pushing the block up as your belly presses down. Your ribs, your hips, your back body's pressing down. Take another breath in here, and then exhale to bend your knees. Place your feet down on the ground. Place your hands down to the ground. Keep squeezing your block. Push down through all 4 corners of your feet and your hands. Lift your hips up. Reach your hips up, and then with your hip points, reach them toward your armpits. Take another breath in, and exhale, lower your hips back down. Straighten your legs up above you. Squeeze your block. Press your ribs down, press your tailbone down, and squeeze the block and try to lift it up toward your heels. So we're not trying to bring our heels toward our chest, we're just going straight up. Almost as if you're trying to unplug your thigh bones from the hip sockets. And then to add a little bit more, maybe reach up like you're holding a ball above your face, and then lift your shoulders up. Slowly place your shoulders back down, bend your knees, place your feet back down. Have your palms come down by your sides, press down through your palms and your feet, and then push up through your hips. Lift your hips up, draw your chest towards your chin, pull your chin away from your chest, so your neck stays nice and long. Take another breath in here, and then exhale to lower your hips back down. Reach your hips, reach your legs back up. Third and final time of this. Maybe reach your arms up, squeeze your block, press your ribs down, press your tailbone down, and then lift the block up. Maybe lift your shoulders up. For some reason when I do this pose, I always think of like a sloth hanging from a tree. But this doesn't feel very slovenly, this pose. So maybe that's the perfect name for it. I don't know. Sloth pose. What do you think? Lower your shoulders back down. Place your hands down. Bend your knees. Place your feet down. Last bridge like this. Squeeze your block. Lift your hips up. Chest towards chin, chin away from chest. Squeeze your block a little bit and keep your heels and toes gripping down into the mat. Lower your hips back down. Take your block out of your thighs. Place it on top of your right thigh. Lift your right foot up. So if you have a pillow, if you're using a pillow for this, then just roll it up. Or you can also just hold the pillow between your elbow and knee. So we're gonna hold an object, a pillow, a ball, an old shoe, between your elbow and your thigh. So it doesn't matter really the size of it, it's just to give those parts of your body something to hold on to. And then reach your left arm and left foot away from each other. Pull your shoulders off the ground. Inhale here, and then exhale, bend your elbow and knee to touch. Inhale to straighten. Reach your arms out, reach your foot out. Exhale, elbow and knee to touch. Inhale, reach your arm and foot away from each other. You can either keep your elbow and knee reaching together, or you can also reach straight up with your foot and hand, like scissors. Inhale your left arm and foot away. Exhale, reach them up. Last one. Inhale out. Exhale up. Place your foot down. Remove your block. Take a breath. Take the block to your left side. It doesn't make that big difference. You can try the different shapes and sizes. Maybe you're using an old shoe or a pillow or even a tennis ball to just hold between your elbow and thigh. Keep your left foot dorsiflex, and that helps actually engage the leg a little bit more. Reach your right arm and leg away from each other, hovering above the ground. Take a deep breath in and lift your shoulders up, and then exhale your elbow and knee together. Inhale, reach your arm and foot away from each other. Exhale, elbow and knee together. Inhale away. Exhale together. Maybe you want to switch it up to add more and reach all the way up. Fingers and toes tap. Inhale out. Exhale up. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Place your foot down. Place your block down. Take a rest here. Roll to one side and come up to seated. From a seated position, sit on a pillow or a folded towel just so your hips are a little bit higher. And then place your hands by your sides on fingertips and then move them back just a little bit. I even like to turn my fingertips back so that way I can really feel my shoulder blades start to go back and down as I do this. And now you can, for this one, we're gonna lift our legs. We're working on that core and hip flexor strength. So you either point your toes or dorsiflex your feet. Sit up as tall as you can to have your shoulders and ribs over your hips. And then start to push down with your left heel. Reach your right foot up with as straight a leg as you can. And use that core strength that we just worked on to help with that. Place your right foot back down. Push your right heel into the ground. Start to lift your left heel up. Lower your left heel down. Push your left heel down. Lift your right heel up. And we're going to keep swapping. Right down, left up. We'll do 2 more each side. Left down, right up, right down, left up. And if you feel like you want to add more to it, let your arms come up into the air. Left down, right up. This is the last one. Right down, left up. Come back down, lift your chest up and fold forward. Maybe bend your knees and let yourself just fold forward. Roll yourself up and then take a wide seat. So I'm going to turn to the side. You might also need to turn to the side if you only have so much space. So take a wide seat. Sit on the edge of your towel or cushion, whatever you sat on. Roll your pubic bone forward a little bit and then keep your thighs pointing up. So the kneecaps and your toes are pointing up. And try to keep that and just move through a few cat-cows. So I quite like to hold on to my thighs to remind them to sort of stay still as I roll forward with my pubic bone and stick my chest out for an inhale for what would be cow, and then exhale to round my back into cat. Inhale, roll forward to cow. Yeah, good. Exhale, round your back, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. One more, inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. And now take your hands and place them behind you again. Stick your chest up. So I quite like the feeling of opening up the collarbones and lifting up from the breastplate. And then push down with your left heel. Ooh, reach your right heel up. It might not even lift up. Lower your right heel, push it down, lift your left up. Left heel down, right up, right down, left up. Some people quite like having one hand in front as they do this. Right up, right down, left up, left down. One more each side. Right up, right down, left up. Both legs down. Maybe place your hands in front of you, behind you, one in front of one the other. Try to get both legs up together. Hold for 2 breaths. One more breath. Place your feet down and fold forward between your legs. Start to press yourself back upright. Turn over your right leg and fold over it. Use your left hand to grab the far side of your leg and just help you sort of be a lever to twist more over the leg. And try to keep your left hip grounded so you're really getting into that QL area. Start to raise yourself back up. Turn the other way and fold over your left leg. Grab a hold of it with your right hand and pull your chest to sort of even try to bring the center of your chest over your knee. Reach your right hip down a little more if you feel it lifting. Start to lift yourself back upright. Ooh. Help your legs come back together. Come around into hands and knees. And from hands and knees, tuck your toes under, lift your hips up and back, and come into a downward facing dog. Press your fingertips into the mat. Try to suction cup your palm up from the mat, the center of your palm. And that'll help spread the weight in your hands. Pull yourself forward to a plank pose. Knees down. If you need to, come down to your belly. Come up into a Sphinx pose once you arrive. Forearms down, elbows under or slightly ahead of your shoulders. Grip your fingertips. Grip the base knuckle of your pinky and thumb down a little more so that you feel the thumb side of your wrist pressing down as much as the pinky side. And then push down through your wrists to forearms, wrist to elbows. And then energetically try to pull your elbows back. Pull your shoulders back so your chest feels wider. And then start to slowly draw your ribs up, draw your low belly up. Spread your toes and push your toenails down as you try to lift your low belly up. And hold for 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. And then lower yourself back down, come onto your belly, sweep your hands by your low ribs. And then inhale up to a cobra. Exhale back down. Slide your forearms forward, come back into your Sphinx. Press your forearms down, pull your shoulders back, and this time try to spread your arms away from each other against the stickiness of the mat. And then pull your ribs up, pull your low belly up. Maybe even your pelvis lifts up a little bit. Hold for 2 breaths. 1 more breath. And lower your low belly back down, lower your chest back down. Slide your hands by your low ribs, and then inhale up to a cobra, or maybe even up to an upward dog. That's a nice little belly stretch. And then exhale to come back. Notice your hands and knees are all the way back to a downward facing dog. Start to slowly walk your feet forward to the front of your mat to a standing forward fold. Lift up halfway. Fold forward. Bend your knees a little bit. Reach your chest forward. Reach your arms forward. Come all the way up. Stand all the way up. Exhale your hands down by your sides. Good. Now from a standing position, take your strap or your scarf or your belt, whatever you're using, or skipping rope if you have one of those as well. That could work. And then make a loop and stand on your left foot. Step onto the strap with your right foot, the ball of your right foot. Stand into your left foot. Lift your pelvic floor. Draw your ribs in. And start to bend your right knee. So don't use your hands to help this happen. Just let your right knee bend as much as it can, and your hands will follow. And then, once your knee is as lifted as it can be, start to straighten your right leg and press your foot into the strap until your leg becomes as straight as it can be. And then try to reach your elbows down towards your hips and into your waist, so your chest feels nice and broad. And as you're here, if you find yourself rounding forward or leaning back, try to pull your ribs in, stack your shoulders and ribs over your hips, over your ankle. Use that strength that we built on our backs, doing similar shapes. And then take both ends of the strap into your right hand as far up forward towards your feet as you can. Reach your left hand to the left, or place it on your hip, whatever feels better for you. And then slowly start to open your right leg to the right, just like we did on our backs. Keep your ribs drawn in, keep your low belly in, pelvic floor lifted. And then slowly start to draw it back through center. Then swap the straps into your left hand. And then very slowly, like you're pulling a very slow motion bow and arrow, reach your right hand back until you become twisted like we were on our backs. And then very slowly, bring yourself back. Take both straps into your hand, in one end in each hand. Lower your right leg back down. Whew. And stand on both feet. Getting into the hip flexors today, everybody. And then stand onto your right foot. Step the strap into your left foot. Really stand into your right foot. Spread your toes, grip them down, and push down with your right foot. Start to draw your left knee up. And then once your left foot is as high as you can get it, start to straighten your left leg forward and press it into the strap. Really flex from the hip, pull your low belly up, lift the sides of your waist up as you draw your low ribs in, and then take both straps into your left hand as high up as you can. Right hand can reach out to the right or go onto your hip as you slowly start to open your left leg to the left. Good. And now slowly use the control from your abdomen. Bring yourself back through center. Take straps into your right hand. And then like a slow motion bow and arrow, pull your left hand and twist yourself back to the left, away from your left foot. Slowly bring yourself back to grab both straps. And then gently place your left foot back down. That's a fun thing to work on by yourself. You can move your strap off to the side. Place both hands onto your hips. Come back to the front of your mat, take a deep breath in and reach your arms up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Step your right leg back. Keep your toes tucked under, place your right knee down. And with your toes tucked under, push down with your toes. And then from your left hip, lift up. Lift your hip points up. Lift your ribs up. Lift your chest up and reach your arms up. Keep your back toes pressing down. And then pull your front heel toward your back knee. Grab your right wrist with your left hand. And then pull your right wrist overhead so you're arching toward the left. come all the way back up. Release your hands, and then exhale your hands down around your front foot. Pick up your back knee and step back to a downward facing dog. Inhale forward to the top of a push-up. Exhale, come down through chaturanga, knees if you need to. Untuck your toes and inhale to a cobra or an upward facing dog. And then exhale all the way back to a downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward to your right thumb. Place your left knee down. Keep your left toes tucked under. Reach your arms all the way up. Press down through your back toes. Pull your front heel toward your back heel. Lift up the sides of your waist. Take another breath in. And then exhale your hands down around your front foot. Lift up your back knee and then straighten your front leg as much as you can. Push down with your left hand and then inhale your right hand up like you're pulling that slow motion bow and arrow once again. One more breath in here, twisting toward that front leg, and then exhale your right hand back down, step forward, standing forward fold. Inhale to lift up halfway, exhale to fold. Reach your arms out and up or roll yourself up, come up to standing. And then go back to the other side, so exhale, fold forward. Good. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step your left leg back. Place your left knee down and keep your left toes tucked under. Press down through your left toes and then lift up from your hip points, from your ribs, from your chest. Reach your arms up. Keep your left toes that are tucked under pressing down. Keep your hip points pulling up. And then try to energetically drag your front heel toward your back knee. And now grab your left wrist with your right hand and arch toward the right, so toward your bent front knee. Inhale to come back up. And exhale, hands down. Lift up your back knee as you inhale and step back to a down dog as you exhale. Inhale forward to plank. Exhale chaturanga. Inhale cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward to your left thumb. Place your right knee down. Right toes still tucked under. Lift up. Reach up from your arms. Reach your hip points up. Draw your low ribs in. Squeeze your legs toward each other. Take another breath in. And then exhale your hands down around your front foot. Pick up your back knee. Straighten your left leg as much as you can, your front leg as much as you can, and then push down with your right hand. Slow motion, bow and arrow, pull your left hand up. Twist yourself toward that front straight leg. One more inhale here. And then exhale your left hand down. Bend into your front knee and step forward, standing forward fold. Just sway here for a few breaths. Inhale to lift up halfway. Exhale to fold. Bend your knees, plant your hands to the ground, and slowly walk yourself back to a down dog with softly bent knees. Just try to wrap your armpits toward each other like you're pointing your armpits together. And then press your inner thighs back. reach your bottom ribs in and toward your hip points. Then gently place your knees down to the ground. And sit back on your heels. From sitting on your heels, we're going to go into what I like to call a mermaid pose. So from your heels, keep the tops of your feet pressing down, but move your bum off to the left. Take an inhale to reach your arms up. And exhale, twist to your left. Place your right hand to your left knee and your left hand behind you. And try to press up through the crown of your head. Depending on how your hips or knees feel, it may feel better to straighten out your right leg more, or both legs away from your hips more. Or it may feel better to just stay seated on your heels and not move your hips off to one side. Inhale to untwist yourself, reach your arms up. And then as you exhale, arch toward your right. Bring your right hand down to the ground or grab a hold of your ankle and just arch overhead. Maybe start to point your armpit toward your knee until you start to feel more in the lower part of your low back and the left side of your low back. And then let your shoulder come away from your ear. We're not trying to wear our shoulders as earrings. Come all the way back up. Then shift your hips to the other side. And this may be more or less accessible to you. Or you may need to just stay on your heels or stay on a couple of cushions, and that's fine. Take a deep breath in to reach your arms up. And as you exhale, twist to your right. Bring your left hand to your right knee and your right hand behind you, sort of like a kickstand, so just on like tented fingertips. And then reach back with your right shoulder blades, with your back shoulder blade, reach that back a little bit more so you feel like your chest is becoming wider. Inhale to untwist and reach your arms up. And exhale, lower your left hand down to the ground or grab a hold of your left foot and arch your right arm overhead. And maybe even point your armpit forward or down a little bit, but keep your shoulders out of your ears. Let yourself just sort of let gravity open you into this shape to just stretch out the sides of your waist. Bring yourself back up. Come back onto your knees. And then turn so that you can have a block or a pillow between your heels. So you're going to come up nice and tall. So that way your knees are under your hip points, but then your heels a little bit wider than your hips. And then lower your hands down so you can flatten the muscle of your calves, the gastrocs, the bum-shaped muscle of your calves. Don't try to pull them to the sides. I prefer to sort of create a flattening effect to sit down between your heels. And if you find that once you've sat on a cushion or a block that you can maybe go lower, then remove it if you feel the need that you can. But try to keep your knees pressing down toward the ground. And as your knees are pressing down, and if you find that this is too much in your ankles, then roll up a little towel or blanket or like your socks under your ankles, and that can just give them a bit of a lift. You might be able to start to walk your hands back and just lean back. Keep your knees pressing down. Maybe even come down onto your elbows. Use the strength of your core to help support your low back as you get lower. Keep reaching your hip points toward each other. Keep your knees reaching down. Maybe you can come all the way to your back. Keep your knees reaching down. Keep your hip points drawing toward each other so that your core is still supporting your low back. Maybe even reach your arms overhead. After all that hip flexion, this can be a really nice release into the hip flexors and the thighs. And just take 2 more breaths here, whichever version you're in. If you're still sat straight upright, then that's great, because that's where your body needs to be, and you're perfect for listening to that. If you're all the way down, bring your hands back to your feet and hold on to them as you start to push your elbows to the ground. Pull your ribs in and draw yourself back upright. Keep that strength supporting your back. And then come forward into hands and knees. Take 2 breaths of cat-cow, as slowly as you'd like. And then bring your legs around, come into your Shavasana. Maybe take your pillows now under your knees, maybe pull your socks on or your jumpers on, blankets on. And let yourself just come onto your back. Take whatever support you like. Let your hands come by your sides. Let your legs start to open up. So there's space around your limbs for air to meet it. And just take some soft breaths. And notice where that soft breath goes. Notice the direction and the quality of your breath. Without judgment or criticism, just paying attention to yourself and paying attention to what sensations you're experiencing. How you feel after all that movement, after all that strength, that length, the changes you've made within you. You've done amazing, incredible work today, so just know that as you pay attention to your breath and your body as it starts to slowly relax and settle into the Shavasana, you've exercised and energized yourself, and to best complement that, allow yourself to now rest and digest that work. Soften through your face and your jaw. Soften your neck and shoulders. Soften your back, your low back. Soften your bum and your hips. Soften and rest your legs and your feet until they become heavy like anchors, keeping you grounded. All the way up the tops of your thighs, the front of your pelvis, your belly, until you feel yourself settling deeper and deeper into your Shavasana. Until you feel that warmth allowing you to just melt into this rest. begin to deepen and lengthen. And feel those deep, long breaths start to feed and nourish your body until you feel that gentle tingling down to your toes, your fingers, maybe giving you enough energy to create small movements to help you prepare for the rest of your day. Maybe lick your lips or roll your tongue over your teeth. And knock your head side to side. And then take a deep breath in and stretch your arms overhead. Reach yourself nice and long. And exhale. And relax one more time. One more long stretching breath in. And exhale. Gently bend your knees. Place your feet on the ground. And roll over to your right side to the fetal position. And when you're ready, press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Maybe allow your eyes to close again if they've opened, or just gently soften your gaze downward. And take a deep breath in through your nose. Feel that lightness in your body. And exhale out your mouth. Feel yourself grounding downward. One more slow sipping breath in through your nose. Hold for a moment at the top. And slowly exhale. Bring your hands together or place them on your heart. Just give yourself a moment of thanks for your time, for your practice, for your attention, and for your own strengths, and accepting your weaknesses wherever they may be. It's a part of who you are, and it's part of what makes you great. Thank you all for your attention and your time. Have a great Sunday. Thank you.